What's up, boys? This season's Fathers of the Future podcast is brought to you by ScottsdalePodcast.com. It's the studio that I'm in right now. Here's the deal. If you have a story, if you have a mission, if you have an interview, if you have something deep and meaningful in your heart that you need to share, that you need to get out, that you need to promote, that you need to fundraise, that you need to build, let ScottsdalePodcast.com be the place that you can come. Crucible is one of the most challenging programs on the planet, designed and created to show you that you're truly not showing up to the game of life. Men, we have this deep-rooted feeling to be able to do more, to give more, to live with more. For the most part, we don't know how to achieve that. So the Crucible shows these men over the course of 2 days that, number one, they're not playing the game the way they know they can. And number two, they may not even have the skills needed to play the game at the level that they want. The Crucible exposes these gaps and shows these men that they got a whole lot more to do before this life is over. They're already in a state of confusion, trying to figure out where is it we meet. The longer we don't get there, the better off it'll be, because that'll fuck them up even more. My name is Luke Kayem, and I empower men to take massive action in their life, to take some deep introspection into who they are and what they have. And if they're not 100% satisfied, if they're not happy and content with their life, to do the work and to take the action needed to expose and fill those gaps. So that evolution is number one, right? PT grinder, why are you here, right? You've been there, everybody's been there. Why are you here? Getting them to tell it. We'll do that till about 5. Hopefully we'll get wet and grassy. So remember, they're gonna ask you questions. Avoid answering any and all questions. So the Crucible was created after exposing my own weaknesses in life and realizing that I needed to go and insert myself into as many different training courses as possible to expose my own gap. Growing up without a father, I realized that I knew nothing about not only how to be a father, but how to be a man, how to be multidimensional, how to take all of what I've learned, this experience, good, bad, and ugly, and put it into a real life application.
Bring us in love, in power, impact, to change lives, change ourselves, and change the world.
God bless. Let's roll.
Amen.
The true intention and purpose of creating the Crucible was to show men, holy shit, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it. I'm not physically or mentally or emotionally or spiritually or even financially playing the game of life the way that I know I can. The Crucible is a 2-day immersive experience here in Scottsdale, Arizona. In 2021, we will have 6 evolution dates throughout the year. Day 1 is all about this spiritual awakening through physical, mental, and emotional distress. We constantly show you the chaos that's happening inside of your own mind through these different evolutions. We take every single angle and inch of what it means to become a high-performing father of the future, and we give it to you across 2 separate days. The first day is meant to break you down so that we can build you back up.
Get down on your back, and stand up. Stand up quickly. Get up, get up, get up.
Why are you here?
I'm here to make a better life for myself and my family.
What does she think about all this?
She thinks it's a good thing.
Why?
Because I need it.
Why do you need it?
Because I'm addicted to alcohol.
Alcohol?
Yes.
So you think being here today is going to change that?
It's gonna.
It's gonna?
Yep.
We're gonna ask you this question all fucking day long. Why are you here? Why are you here?
That way I can just be confident in who I am and and just push past the limits that I set for myself.
This is gonna fix it?
It's gonna give me the tools that I need to fix it.
My name is Richard Abril, 40 years old, married, 3 kids. I decided to do the Crucible because I just needed to get out of the complacency, the mind space of just being okay with just being okay. Right out the gates was pushed physically. That's kind of how the day started. I mean, it was go time. There wasn't really time to stop and think about what was going on. It's just making sure that we were all working together and we needed to accomplish whatever they were giving us to do.
You will all get a 3-minute break if the 3 gentlemen other than Jason can just name one of Jason's daughter's names. Just one. Ready, go. I'm sorry, ready, go.
Nicole?
Brave, very brave. Not even fucking close.
Vanessa, what does she think about all this?
You've only been doing this for 10 minutes.
She's excited for me.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Because she knows that I'm gonna change and I won't give up.
What do you think?
Get up.
I believe her.
Show up. Lead with love.
Don't quit.
Fuck, dude. Let's go, push him out.
Show up. Don't quit. Do the work.
Lead with love. Trust the process. Again, show up. Don't quit. Do the work. Lead with love. Trust the process. One more time. Show up. Don't quit. Do the work. Lead with love. Trust the process.
Course sizes sit somewhere between 4 and 8 men at a time. And the purpose and intention of doing a collective group crucible is because these men become brothers. They understand the ability to walk the talk. They speak the same language. There's a certain level of trust and bonding that happens. By men, creating and completing a course as challenging as the Crucible. And so there's a certain level of trust and respect that goes into it. Now we have a collective group that's empowering and challenging and educating each other. We call you out. We call each other out on our bullshit.
Now, who am I? I am a champion! I'm 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 a champion!
The Crucible is designed for men. Husbands, fathers, leaders, entrepreneurs, executives, small business owners, a man who has had to quiet the storm, who has felt that he has not been able to activate his primal energy. And through this process, through this awakening, he realizes that he is the leader of his life and that nothing else matters except for his own belief in himself.
My name is Jason Hawk. I joined the Crucible to better myself, better my life. I just had to do this for my family or end up losing them. Hiking the mountain, you know, that was pretty intense, especially, you know, carrying a rock up and carrying your baggage you've been carrying your whole life. So getting to the top of the mountain, obviously it was a difficult path that we took, but making it to the top and just being able to just see the whole horizon was just amazing. Seeing a hawk fly by, obviously my last name's Hawk, and it was just amazing. Just getting the feeling and releasing everything and letting it all go and give it to God.
The purpose of the Crucible is to empower, impact, inspire, and educate men. When traditionally we graduate from school, we get a job, we have kids, and we stop growing. This unique experiential-based training is to teach men that they have to keep working, that they have to keep learning, that they have to keep doing things that are oftentimes extremely uncomfortable, that they can't just disappear into their work or into sedation or into partying or completely checking out of their home life. They've got to be able to do this work on their own so that when they go back home to their family, to their business, to their community, they are stronger mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially in a better place than they were before they arrived at the gates of the Crucible.
I'm Laura McElroy, and I'm a sound healer. This is Healing Soul Wellness and Fitness. Everything is made of sound waves, and they actually resonate with different chakras in our system. You've got chakras from your third eye, your throat, your heart, all the way down to your root chakra. So a lot of times these get unbalanced with stress, trauma. So what the sound healing does is each sound resonates with a different chakra, and we try to break up some of those imbalances.
I'm Billy Dias. I'm a Reiki master. I'm also a sound healer. It is very beneficial both emotionally and physically. We're using bowls, gongs, drums, a lot of indigenous instruments, rhythmic patterns. These frequencies are being used medically to break up even tumors, and we're kind of doing the same thing with emotional, physical, stuck energies throughout your body.
This is something I've never experienced before. I felt like my body was trying to release so much that I resisted, just like I do in my regular life. It's almost like my body's trying to tell me something, and if I don't allow it to just release, I'm gonna continue to carry those things with me.
It's just relaxing, calm, and it just released everything. It was a great experience. Best experience I've had in my life.
We added this evolution in a little over a year and a half ago, and it's extremely powerful to see the ghost of Christmas future. The future of your life, the future of some of your friends and family members' lives.
Can I get 25 of the $1 hamburgers?
Nobody in this car, when they were a young kid, said, you know, I want to grow up and I want to be addicted to alcohol, and I want to cheat on my wife, and I want to rage out on my woman, and I want to get pissed off and triggered. Like, nobody does that. And so this next evolution is about the unfortunate reality of society and in life. Gentlemen, take a look around. For some of you guys, this is 12 miles from your front door. Hey, y'all want a couple cheeseburgers? Yeah. Some water? God bless you too, sir. My 3 best friends in the world. One died, I gave his eulogy, January 1st, 2017. One spent 5 years in prison, just got out. Now he's a Peckerwood because that's the only way he could survive in prison for 5 years. And the third one is somewhere in downtown Los Angeles on Skid Row, just like these guys. 3 white guys, middle-class neighborhood, Southern California, Palm Springs, California, graduated 1997.
Some of the results that we have seen from the men who have graduated from the Crucible are very unique. Every individual experience is quite different. And so we foster that, knowing that one man might be coming in for a different reason than another man does. And we individualize each person's experience. Mike Tyson says that everyone has a game plan until they get punched in the face. Most of us are not training today because of life and family and work the way that we need to train. We must be prepared as men, as leaders, as fathers to protect, preserve, and serve our family.
My name's Randy Steinke. I'm a professional mixed martial artist and coach. I coach over here at Pro Edge Boxing. For me, I had an addictive personality, and when I found this, I became really good at it, and it helped keep my focus, and it brought really good people around me. I was becoming stronger, smarter, and just surrounding myself with better people with the same goal. The purpose of bringing the martial arts into the Crucible program is to kind of teach these guys self-awareness and to understand how to protect themselves, or just to have better awareness, and honestly to be humbled. So we kind of get checked and brought back to reality and realize we have to kind of be white belts every day in life, always ready to learn and always ready to expand. So I think these guys are really learning what it's like to push themselves again physically, not just financially or emotionally.
My name is Nicholas Southcrow. I'm 24 years old. I'm a newly married husband. I've been married for about 18 months. We have a baby, Elena, who turns 1 year old on Halloween. And I signed up for this Crucible because I grew up in a broken home. I didn't have a lot of love. I wasn't shown how to, be a perfect father. I wasn't shown how to be a good father. I wasn't shown how to treat a wife well. I wasn't shown how to treat my kids well. And that's what I wanted to learn at this Crucible and realize how I can become a better father, a husband, and a better person to myself as well. When I was about 13, 14, I was getting in a lot of trouble, even at a young age. I started doing drugs pretty young, started stealing a lot of stuff, started just getting into some dumb trouble. My father said he thought I'd end up in prison by the time I was 18, and we started watching fights together. So I was like, man, I kind of want to learn that. Couldn't really afford it at the time, but my father just got in a terrible accident and destroyed like the left side of his body, so he was so bored at home. He's like, all right, we're gonna go do this for a month. You better learn as much as you can because you only get this for 30 days. And I built a new different type of confidence. It gave me something to focus on and become obsessed with instead of just hanging out with friends. Led me to high school wrestling, which led me to moving away from the bad influences. And that's where I met my first mentor. And that mentor has actually been mentored by Luke as well. And it's important to know how to defend your family. Size really does not matter. And if you want to know how to protect your family, then you need to know how to fight and at least defend yourself. And that's number one, because when you go outside, it doesn't matter where you live at. Anytime somebody can come and take that from you, and I'm not willing to let anybody take my life, definitely not my family's life. But I'm excited to go into the tactical firearm training. I've shot a lot of guns. I have some safety training, but not as much as I would like. So I'm very excited because that's a weakness that I feel that I have and I really want to improve on.
My name is Chad Smith. I currently work in aviation. I was a flight paramedic for 15 years before that. Prior to that, I was actually in skydiving professionally, teaching military free fall and civilian skydiving. Adding the shooting portion to it, it helps build confidence for people. You've got some guys here that probably never handled a firearm, but they own them. So how are they expected to defend their family or themselves in a situation unless they actually get the proper training? Not everybody understands that just because you pull a weapon on somebody, you better know how to use it.
My name's Johnny. My background, I was in the military. I was a Green Beret in 3rd Special Forces Group for almost 17 years. I deployed 13 times. Attended every single school the Army has to offer. And for everyone that said they have somebody that lives at home with them, it is your fucking due diligence as a father or husband or brother or uncle to teach the fucking skills that you're learning to them. Because who are they going to call when their shit goes down? You.
This is what I do. This is not a job. This is not a website. This is not a link. This is not an advertisement. This is my fucking purpose in life. And so the greatest takeaway from coming and training with the Fathers of the Future movement in the Crucible is that everything you've ever told yourself, every form of resistance, every fight you've ever battled internally, every problem that you've ever had, well, we've got the solution for it. It starts with you. Take the first step, complete the application, schedule your one-on-one coaching call with me, and let's see you at the gates of the Crucible.
Welcome to the Fathers of the Future podcast. Let me just begin by thanking you, honoring you, appreciating you, and giving you some gratitude for being a part of this movement. We are wrapping up the 2025 season and this podcast with a special guest who literally just flew in a couple minutes ago from Virginia Beach, from the East Coast, a brother who has been in my inner circle now, as we were just talking on the pre-show, for 6 years, October 2019. And let me introduce Paul Carney.
Thank you. So happy to be here, man. It's been 3 years since I've been in AZ.
Yeah,
I'm
just
back.
flew in. We talked about having you on this show during COVID, and it wasn't the right time. We talked about doing it via Zoom, and it wasn't the right way. And so now, fast forward, you are here for a Crucible. And before we begin asking you questions, I'm going to deliver a quick thank you again for anybody watching or listening to this podcast. It's truly amazing to take a movement like Fathers of the Future, where we empower, we impact, educate, and inspire men to become better, to grow, to rise, and ultimately to be present, active, and engaged, not only in their own family or children's lives, but in society, to show up and to not quit. And all of the things that I know we're going to talk about, including that piece about what this movement is about, you embody. And I say that a lot. Like, I don't have people on this show that I haven't vetted first, that I haven't gotten a chance to spend some time with, that I don't know their story. And there couldn't be a better guest to have on this show, because so many of the men in the Brotherhood who have been on this podcast, who have watched it, who have listened to it, who have participated in the Fathers of the Future movement and the Crucible know who Paul Carney is. I'll give a quick origin story on us. You were introduced by a client of mine through your cousin in 2019. You were my first online, across the country, completely digital, virtual Zoom online client. And we actually did not meet in person for almost 3 years, even close to 4.
It was 3 years. It's when I took my mask off for the first time at the Crucible.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome to be able to have worked with you in that capacity and to have really had that much growth. You know, proximity is amazing, right? Doing this podcast live, having people be in the room or in the building. So many guys you're going to get a chance to connect with this weekend. It's why we do experiential-based training as part of this program. But it was really cool to know I could be a part of somebody's life and have a digital relationship and a really open, connected, vulnerable, authentic, genuine one. And so then once we did meet in person, man, obviously we connected right away. I've got the second best hair in the Brotherhood. You can't see it right now. Paul has the first, voted by his peers. But ultimately, you are a father, you are a leader, and you've been in a state of constant, not just growth and expansion, because we say that a lot, but really identifying his strengths and weaknesses and doing the work to magnify the strengths while improving those weaknesses. And you've been very open in this journey, and not only to me, but to our tribe and to our Brotherhood. And so thank you for that, man. It's you know, you're a brother for life. And you know, if you're watching this for the first time and you're like, hey, well, this guy's, you know, marketing or branding, or he's, you know, creating his digital brand, this program and what we do is very intimate. And I say that a lot in a way that lets people know, like, you're not just buying, like, I'm not a fucking digital marketer, right? And those guys are everywhere, and they exist, and they have a persona. Even Goggins has this, you know, persona that he has to live by. I'm a real dude. And when you meet another real dude online, virtually, and then you meet him in person and you connect, man, it's super powerful.
Yeah, it's special, man. And, you know, I take my roster spot within this Brotherhood very seriously, as you know. I'm proud of the group that you've started and grown, and I'm honored to be a part of it. And you know, the first time you asked me to be on the podcast was before my Crucible, and I respectfully declined because I didn't think I earned my seat in this chair until completing the Crucible, because a lot of the other guys that had been on your podcast had completed the Crucible. So I had the opportunity to work with you and a lot of the guys within the Brotherhood prior to, you know, my journey with the Crucible, and I had a lot of friendships and relationships that grew virtually prior to that. But there was always a piece of me that felt like, all right, there's like this respect that I need to earn by completing the Crucible. And once I did that, I feel like the relationships grew even more.
And I'm going to give the super fast forward version of your timeline to today, or the timeline of success. But we get connected October 2019. We do a Zoom whiteboard session, which is what we call the discovery. We had a couple weeks of really just kind of, you know, checking each other out and ensuring that, hey, I was going to provide for you what you were going to support and ultimately, you know, invest in. And we went on a 90-day peak performance coaching relationship, and that grew to another 90 days to ultimately working with you for a year, and then moving you into the Brotherhood, and then coming into the Crucible 3 years after that, to now still be in the Brotherhood 3 years later. You've been in this program training and working with me for 6 years. And so I am going to use this opportunity to ask you, if somebody is watching this for the first time, like, what that investment, time, energy, and resources, has been to you and for you, and ultimately, like, why are you still here? And I'll say it from my point of view, like, if I don't deliver value, if I don't show up, if I don't continue to help you in any phase of your life, then, like, stop. So you're still here. So I got to use this as a small case study and ultimately a testimony of like why, like, what does it do for you? And not me in particularly, but like the Fathers of the Future movement, the brand, the podcast, the men, and the circle of influence that we have, and doing it on an island, as nobody is within 10 states of you in our tribe on a regular basis.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm a dedicated husband, a present, active, and engaged father. So, those are the most important things. My family is the most important thing. And I'm in this constant trying to improve constantly. Like that's just in me. It's always been in me. When we had our first call, it was a Zoom that, you and me connected, I think via text, and maybe we connected on a quick phone call. We had a Zoom set up. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't kind of, show up prepared to do anything. We did an hour-long whiteboard session, and you mapped out so much within that hour. And then you said, okay, cool, let's connect in a week. And then the call was just over. And I remember thinking, like, wow, that was awesome. I've never done anything like that before. It wasn't like salesy at all, because you were like, all right, cool, let's connect next week. Then we connected the next week. We had a follow-up to that call. We had another hour-long call, same type of thing. And I feel like by the third time that I got together with you on the Zoom, I was like, all right, you're awesome. I love this path that we're on. We align together, because I've worked with different types of coaches in the past, like business coaches. And what I really love about working with you is body balance being in business, right? It's not just one sector. Like, all four of those harmonize together to create, a powerful human being, right? And I almost feel like our third call, I was like asking you, like, how can I hire you? How can we do this? How can we make this legit? And then, one thing led to another, and we ended up working together for an entire year, a little bit over a year, and 5 years since then as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And again, connecting on a deeper level, we call it a brotherhood for a reason, right? I don't have a brother, and so I don't have a big family. And, we'll probably get into a little bit about, your family and your brother. But ultimately, it's a support system. And in not having one, and on this path of growth, you begin to, do things with other people, guys that like, and trust, and you get invited to do things. And so I got invited into your brotherhood and your inner circle to come to Puerto Rico and surf. It's challenged me to learn how to surf, right? And get better at it so that I don't show up as, the guy who's struggling more than anybody.
The yuppie, right? You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the shoebie.
I don't want to be that guy, especially in Puerto Rico. I don't want to be the Barney.
Yep.
But it's really put me on a path to learn something that I did not know. And even though I grew up in Hawaii, like, I was a skimboarder and a boogie boarder, right? So seeing you and Wes and Chip, three guys in your inner circle, and becoming part of that, man, it's helped me sharpen my sword. Chip, shout out our brother Chip. We love you, man. He came and he did his Crucible with you. Now you have Wes. And Wes is here. And what Wes doesn't know, and we'll try to, put this in some of the highlights later, Wes just landed as well from the East Coast. And you're surprising him by being here for his journey. Knowing he won't see this until afterward, what is that piece of valuable information that you would say, be prepared for, be ready for? And if you're considering a crucible of your own, what should they expect, or why should they even want to do something like this? Because we did coaching, right? And there's a lot of great coaches online who do that. But at a certain point, the words, they don't do what the work does.
Sure.
And one of my favorite quotes by a guy named Me is that information is free, education is expensive, and experience is priceless. And that's a reminder of what we're dealing with on a regular basis. There's shit coming in from everywhere. It's information, it's overload, it's TMI. And we don't know how to process it or sift through it. And most of it truly is just content or an overindulgence in information, but it's not action. Education, I'm a college dropout. I got 2 kids in 2 different states going to college. This shit is expensive, but experience is priceless. And so what would you say about your Crucible experience, and to Wes, watching this from home now, post-Crucible?
Well, what I would say to Wes, I'll pass along advice that I got from 2 of the men in the Brotherhood, Richard Brill, shout out Richard Brill, and Greg Pugh. So we've been working together a long time. You know all the gaps in my game. You know all the skeletons in the closet, right? My wife and I have struggled for years on our parenting journey. We have what you would consider not neurologically typical children, right? And I signed up for the Crucible looking for the silver bullet, right? Man, we were just in the trenches for years and didn't know how to get out of it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to come out to Arizona and do this really hard thing. And then all of a sudden I'm going to go home and my kids are going to be, easy, right? Fortunately, the week of my Crucible, I connected with a handful of the men that had done it before. And both Rich and Greg gave me the same piece of advice. And that advice was eliminate all of your expectations going into the Crucible. Don't think about the finish line. Allow the experience to come to you and let the journey just happen. And I'm really happy that I got that advice from those 2 guys, because I think otherwise I may have shown up just thinking about my kids and the parenting journey. And what happened was I really took their advice to heart, and I took down those walls, and there was no resistance. I mean, I think you probably recognize that with me from the beginning. I let everything come to me, and I let the path just happen. And, there were a couple things that were really life-changing to me, things that I'd been holding on to for years and didn't know it, that I was able to kind of leave. I left one of them on the mountain. I left one of them at Lake Bartlett, and truly life-changing things for me that I didn't realize that I was holding on to so deeply.
Yeah, carrying the weight, or what we just discussed on Tuesday's call, right? Releasing the hands and not carrying this grudge of anger. And so many men, myself included, for a very long time, like, this is how we walked around. And whether that was trying to be macho or egotistical or angry or upset at something from our past, or pissed off about someone who doesn't have a care in the world for why we're concerned, is a waste of energy, it's a waste of bandwidth, and it's a waste of time. And it's so easy for us to do. So you release those things, but it wasn't the end all be all, right? I'm not your savior, and the Crucible's not the finish line. You've gone through a few of these ups and downs.
Yeah, for sure. And, the feeling of being able to accomplish something that's really hard, I mean, it was the hardest thing I've probably ever done, physically, mentally, emotionally, but it was also the most impactful for sure. And, if you want me to share.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the 2 things that I was holding on to that I didn't realize, the first was my relationship with my dad. I grew up, I had an amazing childhood. Both parents there, both engaged, active. We were like the, white picket fence, middle class family, right? Community was awesome. I had an amazing childhood. In 2007, a couple things happened that changed my life forever. I never really faced a ton of adversity outside of wanting to be the starter on the basketball team and embracing being the 6th man, or not getting into the college that I wanted to go to, right? Like, that to me was adversity growing up. Very different from a lot of the other guys in the group. But in 2007, a couple things. One, I got a phone call from my mom. My dad stepped out of the marriage. He had an affair, and it broke our family immediately. And a lot of my identity at the time was the family that I was a part of, not just in our neighborhood. It was a community thing. Like, you know, we were the Carney family. We had a lot of friends. We were a part of a lot of different things. And that changed in a second when I got that phone call. About 6 months later, I got a phone call about my next door neighbor. He was like a little brother to me. His name was Tyler Murray. He was killed in a drunk driving car accident. He was 16 years old. I was 21. Our families were very, very close. Next door neighbors, but also our parents' families bought a beach house together. So we spent our summers together. So we were extremely close. And I got that phone call 7 a.m. on March 10th, 2007, that he was in a drunk driving car accident. And the last time that I saw Tyler, I was home from college in December, and he hit me up and he was like, "Hey, PC, can you buy me a bottle of vodka?" Sure, no problem, right? Like little brother, like, you know, I'm 21, I can do it. So I met him, you know, hung out with him for a couple minutes, gave him the bottle of vodka, and then I was off. That was the last time I ever saw him. So I held on to that guilt silently for a very, very, very long time. The summer before that was our last summer together. We had these, you know, the surfboard leash ties that tie the leash to the surfboard. He tied one around my wrist. I tied one around his wrist. And I kept that on my wrist for 16 years. It never came off my wrist. I took his death really hard, and it affected me.
First major death of your life?
I had a couple before, but this was the big one.
That questions your own mortality in life?
Everything. And I was able to, after hour 32 at the Crucible, Lake Bartlett, I cut the surfboard leash tie off my wrist and left it in the fire as we left. And I physically felt something inside of my core, my soul, my body that just released. It was like cutting the chains, or like the handcuffs coming off or something. It's really hard to explain, but I could physically feel it. And now when I think about Tyler and the great times that we had together, it's all happy. It's good memories. And until then, man, I was really, really tied down by it, and it really affected me. And like I said, I suffered in silence. Not at first, but you know, once life goes on and things move past, and it was still a big thing. But yeah, so the Crucible, and that same day, we went back to the hotel, took a little nap because we'd been up for 32 hours, and I called my dad, and I forgave him. I had thought that I had forgave my dad years before, but clearly I was holding on to something. And you know, when you're wet, cold, tired, and blindfolded for periods of time over you know, a really hard experience, your mind starts thinking about things and bringing things up in different ways. And my dad was almost taken aback. I feel like he was kind of like, wait, I thought you forgave me a while ago. Like, we have a pretty good relationship. And yeah, so
it was freeing to release
both
that.
of those situations were so freeing. Like the freedom that came from that, I can't even explain how impactful that was in my life. And in fact, my dad just got married 2 months ago, and he asked me to be the best man.
Wow.
And you know, we basically rebuilt our relationship from the dust, because there was no relationship for a while, and I'm really happy where we are now. But yeah, the Crucible was super impactful. And you know, my advice to Wes and the other guys that are doing it is go in, you know, open heart, open mind, no expectations, and just let the experience happen, because it can be super impactful and life-changing for any man that needs it, like I did.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to segue, and I'm going to fuck you up a little bit on this one. The ability to free yourself, to see yourself in real time, self-actualization of, wow, I'm aware that I've been carrying this, but I've never seen it or felt it before, and now I'm aware that I can release it. Did that give you the ability, and this is going to be super relevant, right? Especially for the guys who were on the Brotherhood call the other day, in the ability to free yourself from your brother and what you've gone through with him right now. And I'm not concerned that he would ever watch this, so we're probably okay on that.
Yeah.
But you said that on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And would that have messed you up a whole lot more possibly if you didn't have that ability?
I think so. I think so. You know, kind of short story or long story short is, you know, my brother and I are extremely close. He was the best man in my wedding. We're 3 years apart. We grew up together. We spent summers together with Tyler and Tyler's brother Brock at the beach in Delaware, at the beach house that we had. So the four of us were, you know, very, very tight forever. My brother Chase is the godfather of my son Austin. And yeah, he met a woman in London. He moved to London for work. They met, got engaged very quickly, got married very quickly. We all went out to the wedding and things just really fell apart. He's not communicating with anybody in his family besides my mom at this point, and that communication is sporadic, if at best. And yeah, I think I mentioned to you, it's like I'm mourning the death of somebody that is still alive, and it's certainly challenging because I love him to death. He's a wonderful, wonderful person, one of the closest people in my life, but that version of him just doesn't exist right now. And I'm hopeful that one day it will come back. But yeah, right now it's been 18 months since we've chatted, and you know, to your point, I think you're right. I think what I experienced, not only just at the Crucible, but our work together over 6 years has been able to kind of shift my mind in the way that I carry things and look at things. And you know, we're constantly trying to reframe how we look at different situations, and instead of saying, I'm so mad that we aren't talking and, you know, questioning everything, it's like, you know, I'm grateful for the 35 great years that we did have together, and you know, our journey's not over. It'll come back at some point, and for whatever reason, now is just not the time.
Yeah, it's not just a philosophy or psychology, it's a system, and it's structure, and it's a standard for living. And once you learn it, it's hard to ever go back.
Yeah.
It's like once you see, you can't unsee. If you have the ability to free yourself from agony, pain, suffering, and the system or the tools that you acquire, both in this program and in life and in other experiences, that's the acquisition of knowledge, and then the ability to apply it. That's what discipline is.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I've seen in you more than anything. Like you already had a tremendous heart of being a great father and a brother and a son and a husband. You know, I think you were one of the first guys that I was like, you don't have to be broken to have a breakthrough. Right. And now you just prove to yourself and everyone around you, like, this work, although it is never ending, right? Self-mastery is a lifelong process. When you begin to apply the things you've learned over time that you've been practicing for 6 years and do it in a way that, like, wow, I didn't get upset. I didn't get angry. I didn't get pissed off. I didn't get vengeful or hateful. It didn't stress me out. Damn, that shit works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I wrote a letter or two that I kept to myself.
Yeah.
Like, that's helpful, right? So I got all those negative thoughts out on paper, and I got my feelings out, and, you know, how I look at the situation, which is, you know, very different than the world that he's living in right now. But yeah, I didn't send them across because it's, you know, there's really no point in doing that.
Yeah. So you also saved yourself the agony of the response and having to deal with that as well.
Yeah,
right.
agreed.
And whether he was happy, angry, upset, or indifferent, by writing the letter and just getting rid of it, you didn't disrupt him, which in return would disrupt you back. It's like, you know, the guy who, you know, you cut somebody off on accident, he flips you off. Well, I think my daughter calls it trigger bait, right? you didn't trigger bait yourself. And because of that, you saved yourself some future suffering. And in all reality, you own that shit because he doesn't know what you're feeling. So why give him the ability to, you know, rent space in your head?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about renting space. So on our drive over here, and there might be some people in industry that do watch this, so I will be careful, but let's use the language of, like, I think you called it a midlife question, right? You've been in this professional career, commercial real estate. You've worked for some of the big guys. And it's not just a lack of fulfillment, because a lot of people in work feel that make a lot of money. I think it's more about what are you capable of. So I'll ask that question to you on video publicly here, right? Like, if you could be anything you wanted to in this next decade while your kids are still young, you're still young, what would you want to do? Or have you gotten that far? Because a lot of guys who are in commercial real estate that I'm talking to right now go, man, I don't know if this is it. I don't know if I want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
I think there's something else I'd like to spend my time, my talents, and my tools giving and doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of great things that have come out of my 15, 16-year journey in commercial real estate. A lot of great relationships, the clients, a lot of growth. Got to have a lot of grit to be in the business that I'm in. I'm a 1099. I've been 100% commission my entire career. I moved to Northern Virginia with no relationships, and I got my license in Virginia, kind of on a whim, and I lived with a friend for about 6 months. And when I was getting into the business, everybody told me, hey, you're not going to make any money for 3 years. Like, it takes 3 years to make any type of money in this business. And I remember thinking, all right, let's see. I'm going to do it in 2 years. Well, sure as shit, they were right. It took 3 years. The very first year, after living with my friend for about 6 months, he ended up getting married. So I didn't want to be that guy kind of living with the newlywed couple. So I moved in with my dad. He lived in a 1-bedroom apartment in Herndon, Virginia. I lived on his couch for 2 years. I made $11,000 in my very first year. Year number 2, living on my dad's couch, I made, a little bit more than that. But I moved from Dewey Beach, Delaware, worked at the best beach bar in the entire world, the Starboard. I was a bartender there. My wife worked there.
Starboard. I've
Shout out
seen
Starboard.
I've seen it.
My girlfriend at the time, my wife now, we were living the dream, right? She was selling houses during the day. She was working at the bar at night. We worked together. It was a great life. And it was really hard to leave. And yeah, my first 2 years in commercial real estate, I made less money combined than I did my last year bartending at the Starboard. And, so that puts you in a tough spot. You're 25, 26. You got this girl that you know that you want to marry, but you're not making any money. You're living on your dad's couch. It was a rough, a tough start. But looking back, I'm really fortunate for those years. One, because it helped mold that relationship with my dad that we both appreciate so much now. And two, I learned how to, be gritty. I learned how to hustle. I learned how to go out there and get it. I wasn't handed anything. And a lot of people in my business, it's the same way. I'm not special in that way. Everybody that is a 1099, 100% commission in commercial, they know that they have to go out and get it if they want to, feed themselves and their families. And so I'm proud of the journey that I've had over 15 years. To your question, I do think I have a lot of untapped potential. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Some friends and I started a company about 5 years ago, renting houses, buying rentals for either flips, purchasing properties for flips or rentals. We own a handful of rental properties now. We've done some flips. We're about to do another flip. About to put another one on the market right now. So that's a fun side project with 3 really close friends of mine. We've had some fun. We've learned some things and had a good time. So I don't know. Yeah, it's like, my first midlife, I don't want to say crisis because it's not a crisis. I've been calling it a midlife evaluation, and I'm just kind of looking at my life of, okay, from my dad's couch to today, it's been a great run. It's been a great journey, and not exactly sure, what the next 15 look like.
Well, you know this more than most from not only spending time with me, but ready, fire, aim in this pursuit of what's next. And if the default is commercial real estate, which you already know, then it's not a bad thing to fall back on.
Yeah.
But if you don't take that risk, you'll never know, right? You miss every shot you don't take, and I think you do know that. One of the sentiments I said in the car was like, your wife is a hustler, right? High level sales executive.
She's a beast.
She's
a killer.
She's a world-renowned saleswoman. And with your kids at the age they are, 2 of you having career jobs versus careers, right? Being able to write your own schedule. I think is something that I know is important to you because of how much time you already spend with your kids.
It is.
And there's an unhealthy too much as well, right? I think I witnessed that for about a month or two, and I've seen it in other men who don't have to work, is that you lose that purpose piece. And as your kids get older, it's not that they become less of your purpose, they become more self-sufficient versions of your purpose.
Yeah.
And so time becomes this most valuable currency that we have. And your kids right now at the age, shout out to Avery and Austin, at the age of 8 and 6?
7 and 9.
7 and 9,
Yeah.
yes. You're still in the sweet ages, man.
We are.
Yeah.
We are. And, you know, what you said about, you know, there's a balance, right? When we met, I was putting all of my efforts into my parenting and thinking that I was doing the right thing because 100% of my focus was on my kids and being a dad, being a parent. And you kind of helped me take a step back and recognize that, like, whoa, like what time do you have for yourself? And I was almost confused by the question. And you really helped me reframe how I look at my life. And it really started with my fitness and my health. That had gone out the window. I wasn't working out at all. I was eating whatever I wanted to eat or whatever was there. I wasn't thoughtful about what I was consuming, focused all on being this great dad, right? And, you know, you really helped me realize that I got to focus on myself. If I want to impact my kids in a positive way and be the best father that I can be, I have to be the best man that I can be. And listen, that's an ongoing journey, because I know my wife is going to watch this and she's going to be like, all right, you know, there's definitely some gaps that I'm constantly working on, but I've really focused on myself, my own health, my own physical improvement journey.
Gut health was a big one.
Gut health,
Huge.
gut health was a big one, and not moving my body. And man, I just turned 40 this year. I feel better and more healthy at 40 than I did at 30, and than I did at 20. I feel really good. I'm active. Before meeting you, I never would have worked out before hopping on a plane to fly to Arizona. I worked out this morning because I knew I needed to move my body to just kind of keep things in motion, especially
Plus,
with
you
what
knew
we
we'd
got
check
going.
you out too. We checked
Yeah,
you. Did you work out this weekend? Did you work out before you got on the plane? That's good.
That's a good point.
That's good.
You
That's the
probably would check
accountability
it.
factor right there.
That's right. That's exactly right.
What'd you do?
I just ran today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy. I've lifted the last 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. And you said the temperature when you took off this morning was
27.
Yeah.
And I showed up here overdressed. I mean, it's 65 degrees and beautiful in Arizona.
This is a Scottsdale winter right here. We have 2 seasons.
Hot and cold.
Hot and cold. That's it, man. There's like a week in between both. Let's talk tools here for a moment. Reading, writing, speaking, something that I remember on an early whiteboard session with as I was expanding my career into the keynote world of like how to create and craft a presentation, not only for work or business, social media, online presence, but ultimately content and creating that, and possibly even the ability to deliver a speech and get paid for it. And I remember we worked through that as I was building on it. You've got a journal here. You brought me a book. I'm going to take the next couple minutes for you to draw something out of that and share it. This is our Fathers of the Future journal, present, active, and engaged. And the Crucible guys get a chance to we ask them some serious, deep questions that they get a chance to answer. And so one piece in that, a small snippet that you can share with not only the GP out there, but anybody else watching.
Yeah. Well, I wish I could share this last page, but at the Crucible, one of the exercises was burning that particular page. So I can't share that one, but I do have one that I think is really good to share. This one is titled, and there's different, through the evolutions of the Crucible, there's different writing exercises that we do. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this was the last one. Mm-hmm. It may be the last one before the burning of the page, but this one's titled, Why Must This Be For Me? And I'll just read it to the listeners. This must be for me because there is no other option. This must be for me because the only way to lead my family is to show up. This must be for me because if I don't continue to push my edge, I will get weak. This must be for me because quitting is not an option. This must be for me because if the king does not rise, the kingdom dies. This must be for me because only I can do the work, no one else. This must be for me because if I don't show up and do the work for my family, another man will. This must be for me because if I don't lead with love, my children won't either. This must be for me because my queen deserves a strong and powerful man, physically and mentally. This must be for me because my friends and peers need me to set an example and be the standard. This must be for me because happiness, true happiness, lies on the other side of doing this work. Show up, don't quit, do the work, lead with love. The Crucible class of 29, October 28th, 2022.
So you said show up there 3 times. You mentioned him earlier, Greg Pugh, who's done some body ink on me, tattooed show up on you after the Crucible. Tell me what that means to you.
Well, first of all, it's showing up for myself, and that's what I was missing for the first couple years of my parenting journey. Show up as a reminder in everything that I do that I need to show up for myself. And then after that, it's showing up for my wife, showing up for my kids, showing up for my friends. Wes is one of my closest friends in the world. He doesn't know I'm here. I'm showing up for him, to be a part of his experience with the Crucible tomorrow, showing up for your community, showing up at work, showing up as a great human. The tagline of Fathers of the Future, show up, don't quit, do the work, lead with love. I didn't have any tattoos at the time. And I was like, oh man, do I want to get the whole thing? And then I said, no, I'll just get the show up on the back of the arm. It's super meaningful to me. It is, I really don't take those 2 words lightly at all. It really drives me, and I think about it all the time. It's rule number 1.
Paul Carney couldn't have said it better there. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. We truly appreciate you. I know right now you're off of social media.
I'm off.
You're on a hiatus.
Took a hiatus. Back in April, I hopped off. I was very active before, and it's been a nice refresh. I do miss it. There's certain things I miss following you and seeing all your stuff. I do check YouTube from time to time, so I have seen the podcasts. So I still have YouTube, but I don't use it too often.
So we're going to put Paul Carney's email in the description down in the YouTube video below for anybody who wants to connect, and remind everybody that this journey started with a simple conversation and a phone call. And if you're in that place where you're stuck or you're stranded or you're isolated or you don't know who to go to or what to do, I invite you to scheduling a discovery call with me, which could lead into 5 to 6 years later of continuous maximum effort and training and the evolution of a man that I truly do respect for his constant desire to get better. One of the things that you truly remind me of, my Uncle Alan Adamo, who's been on this podcast, I've never seen an upset, an angry, a short, a triggered, pissed off, asshole version of Paul Carney. And I'm sure there is one, as there is in all of us, but you carry a light with you that when you're on those calls, and I know you can't make everyone, but when you're there, when you're in the presence of us, especially me, I feel your energy, I feel your aura, I feel your riz, and it's world class, brother. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of the entire brotherhood, man, we appreciate you. Thank you for what you're building and the impact that you're having on all of us and many other men to come, man. I love you. You're a brother to me.
Love you
I
too,
appreciate
brother.
you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for being here today. Quick shout out to my man Martin here at Scottsdale Podcast, who's continuing to put us online and record these episodes. We've had an amazing 5th season as we close out 2025. From my house and my home to yours, from my heart and soul to yours, we thank you. We appreciate you. We're grateful for you, for listening, for watching, and being a part of the Fathers of the Future movement. Peace.
I must unlearn my ability to say no. I must unlearn overscheduling. I must unlearn my wife packing Avery's lunch every day. This was 3 years ago. I must unlearn that I have to do everything on my own. I must unlearn trying to solve my kids' problems. I must unlearn thinking about problems before they even happen. And I'll read this one more time. I must unlearn limiting beliefs. I must unlearn negative self-talk.
So check out ScottsdalePodcast.com and reach out to my man Martin to build your podcast now.